Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's video, guys. I am Jack with My Girl Budgeting, and welcome to today's video. I am basically on today. I don't know where to start, guys. So on today, it's gonna be a little bit different, guys. We're going to, if you saw, of course you saw on the title description, we are actually going to be discussing my debt. I am going to be transparent as much as I can and tackle the whole debt journey, debt diary, and you know, essentially my debt confession. So I wanted to go ahead and get, you know, bring you guys into my life in that way. See what, you know, what transpired for me to take this leap. I am in my 40s, guys, and so this has really been the year of me really learning my finances, learning my money, learning everything that I have within my budget, and, you know, therefore tackling debt, right? So this is what today's video, guys. If you are new to my channel and are, you know, first time watching, I would love for you guys to hit that subscribe button. I am on my journey to become debt free, and with that I do budgeting, savings, and also other things within the budgeting community. But I am also do YouTube videos to hold myself accountable so that I can not live paycheck to paycheck, okay? And so, this is, you know, my journey within a year of me starting this process. So as we go through this, I do have this, you know, this tackling budget sheet that I created for myself. I think I gave this away a couple months ago. But yeah, guys, we are going to tackle my debt. Or go over my debt, basically. So this was just something I created as a, you know, bulletin board kind of vision on tackling budget. You know, and so, guys, we'll be right back. My grandbaby, she woke up, and anyways, I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I am back. I got her bottle fed and she's ready. Anyways, guys, so yeah, as I was discussing, this is me going over my debt confession. So basically, these are just certain goals, certain, I guess, words of affirmation, I don't know, things to help me move along and stay on focus with it. You know, it's like you plan for your future here, set goals. This was a freebie I actually gave out, but I use it as part of my planner, my daily planner. And then you set goals, plan your budgets to set goals that you want to achieve. Start small and build yourself up to tackle bigger goals. If you can only save a few dollars, then start with $1. $1 envelope and add $1 when you can. And that's essentially like what I tell people all the time, because a lot of the times, you know, when people are like, you don't ever go anywhere, or you're not like I just tell people I don't go out, you know. I don't try to, I mean, I am going out more just because I don't want to be a recluse, and after the year, you know, prior, I was, you know, I'll get into that in here in a minute. But so basically, that's just what I started with, was finding ways to just save with that $1. Doesn't matter where I get it from, or even at that, just the fact that it's just $1, put it in an envelope, put it away. You don't ever think about it. And then also review your habits. You know, review your budget by taking a look at your spending and see where you can cut out spending. You know, get the past 3 months of your statements, bank statements, if you have a bank, which you know, majority of people do have it, and see where you spend the most, what you can cut out, and total what you could have saved, and start saving from that instead. And then, you know, just you can do it. It's okay. And then, of course, no spend. Start with a no spend tracker, and for every day you don't spend on the unnecessary, save an amount that fits your budget. Example, for every 5 days I don't spend, I will save $1. By the end of the month, you could save $6. And that is saving goals, you know. So something that I look at, you know, for myself and starting, you know, budgeting myself, and I try to hold myself accountable to, just by looking at this, you know, just looking at it and saying, like, I can keep moving forward, you know. And so with that also, it's in the same page. So now I'm going to go into, I guess, the biggest notion that of why we do budgeting, right? And that is my debt confession, guys. So it says write your, so this is actually on my Etsy. I mean, you could start your own journal. Just get a notebook, even if it's your old, you know, notebook with notebook paper or whatever. Just write down your own journey and track your progress and confess your setbacks to release negative energy and workarounds. Okay, so basically this is my debt diary, and this is something I wrote out, and what, you know, prompted me in the whole journey of budgeting. I am late in the game, never too late, but I am late. I wish I would have started this 20 years ago whenever I was in my 20s, you know, even, you know, but I was never taught what to do, how to handle your money. Okay, guys, I'm back. I do have my grandbaby, so I'm babysitting tonight, so I may have to do a little, you know, stops here and there. But yeah, guys, so this is just, you know, jotting my journey, jotting down my debt, and, you know, finding a way of the why, right? Everybody's always like, why? You always have to have a why, you know, why we are working toward this. So it basically says, I started my journey as a means to cope with the loss of a loved one. As of last year, I did lose somebody in June of 2023, and this was what prompted, you know, getting into budgeting. And then after reviewing my expenses and my debt, I came to the realization that I don't have to be afraid of money. I don't have to owe anyone, and I don't have to be in debt. I decided I wanted to take back my life and be in control of my money. So I took that leap and started watching countless of YouTubers, as I do with all of you who are in the budgeting community. And I listened to a lot of Dave Ramsey podcasts. You know, he's very blunt, straight to the point, you know, start those baby steps, right? And I reviewed my spend on my bank statements. I went and grabbed, I think, 2 or 3 months of my bank statements, and I am going to go show you guys exactly for this last, you know, year. I wish I probably have the copy of what I started with. I wish I would have kept it, and I may have, I just don't remember where I put it at, of last year's statement and what prompted, you know, this, and then you know, it was, you always, for me, again, I was, as a child, we weren't taught how to manage money. We weren't, you know, my parents were very old school, very old fashioned in some sense, and, you know, they struggled with their own finances, and, you know, up until my parents, you know, passed away, they didn't have anything. And that also, you know, prompted me to take, you know, a look at my life too. When I lost my mom, was the last person I lost back in 2018, and so seeing what she had to go through whenever we lost my dad, you know, 5 years prior, and then seeing the struggle she went through because she didn't have my dad any longer. My dad was the sole provider. You know, he up until, you know, he couldn't work anymore, he provided for his family. He took care of us. You know, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and you know, we never went without all what we needed. You know, even though we want, you know, we always want something, right? And even as kids, you want the newest toy because your friend has it and whatnot. But my parents always provided what we needed, and we never felt like we were without. I never, even though, you know, my mom was, you know, making us beans and rice all the time, so that is a comfort food for me, to have beans and rice, as Dave says. You know, that is something we lived on, you know, growing up, but we always felt loved. We always felt fulfilled. We never felt like we were starving to death because we didn't have, you know, my parents, that was one thing that they always made sure that their family always was taken care of. But on the finance side of that, they never showed us how to manage money, so they didn't teach us that the importance of, you know, learning those baby steps. And so, yeah, I mean, I worked to pay debt, is basically what I've done majority of my life, is work to pay debt, work to pay somebody else. You know, I make money, but I'm giving my money, you know, of course we have to pay our bills, but I'm giving money, throwing extra money here and there to, you know, pay off debt. And so that caused, you know, a lot of stress in my life. I always felt like I struggled. You know, I was married for 11 years. I got divorced when I was in my 30s, and I you know, of course, took on a lot of debt there as well. You know, going through divorce, you do take on a lot of credit debt, because me and my ex had credit. We established credit. We thought, okay, you have to have credit, so you have to buy stuff, put it on credit, and then mind you, you may not be able to afford it, and you're getting credit, but you're messing up your, you know, your whole credit, right? And so so that also just prompted, you know, us living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know, like, I mean, when I went through my divorce with 2 kids, I mean, I raised both of my children after my divorce, because, you know, my ex walked away. He walked away from his kids, you know, and so, I mean, and you could ask my kids. My kids always tell me, you were a mom and dad. You know, I don't see, even if they run into their dad, which I've tried multiple times to bring him into their lives, and it just never worked. He would, you know, temporarily be here, and then he'd walk right back out. And so they gave up on them, and, you know, maybe one day they will come to hopefully have a relationship with him. But at this time, they always tell me, like, Mom, you were our mom and dad. There was no other. And of course, when they had my dad up until he passed away, and they were very close to my dad. So my daughter being the oldest, she has a lot of animosity toward her dad in that way, and that's, you know, that's a whole nother story. But with divorce, you know, kids pay the price, and I always tried to keep my kids. I never said anything negative about my ex. What he did, whatever happened between us was between us, and I never wanted to badmouth him to them. They learned on their own just who he was, and he showed them who he was. So, and I hate that for my kids, because, you know, of course you need both your parents, you know, and I see, like, I mean, even just friends of theirs who have both of their parents, whether they're married or divorced, you know, they still have their mom and their dad, and they're still involved in their life. So it's hard to see that my kids just have me. And I mean, I've always been strong for them, and I've always been there for them, and I will always, until my last breath, I will always be there for them. But anyways, so yeah, so with that divorce came debt, added debt, and so I carried a load of guilt with my spending. I carried a load of, you know, finding a means to make sure my kids did not feel like they were starving to death, you know. And I did my best to do that. And it was hard. It was always a struggle, and there was times where I would like break down because I always made sure they ate, and if that's all I could do for them, for us, then that's what I did. You know, even if I gave myself smaller portions so that they could have more, that's what I did, you know. And my kids, I mean, right as of now, as adults, I mean, that they've never, I don't see that they feel like they've ever been without either. And I wanted to give what my parents gave me, and so in that sense of, you know, love and support, and also just, you know, making sure that they had everything they needed. And come to, you know, as they're adults, as I'm learning this process, becoming debt-free, I am also teaching them, because I didn't teach them, and they are in their 20s, you know, they're in their early 20s, they're in the age I wish I would have started this. And I am, you know, and I tell them, like, you guys can save. And my son has, you know, my daughter too, I mean, she's had setbacks, you know, herself, I mean, but she's always hustled since she was in high school. She always worked, but she's finding ways to also save. And I made her little envelopes for her and the baby. You know, she's working to save toward her getting her own apartment, you know, things that she wants in the future. She is finding ways to save. And my son as well, you know, as I mentioned before, he gives me his savings, and I typically will put that on my videos toward his savings. So that's just another added thing. I'm teaching them now, and because I don't want them to be, you know, at my age later on in life, and just wish they could have just saved, you know, up, and get to that point where they can, you know, buy everything with cash and not have to depend on credit, you know. It's crazy to me that we, as a society, have, you know, been taught that you have to have credit in order to, you know, yes, we have to buy a house, we have to do our credit on the house, you know, things like that. I get that. I mean, of course, we need a place to live, but it's always been instilled in us, like, you got to build your credit. You got to build your credit. If you don't build your credit, you can't get a house. If you don't have good credit, you can't get a car, you know, things like that. And it's just like, no longer do I want to do that, you know. I want to be able to pay cash, and I want to be able to do the snowball effect, and so on and so forth. So this is what brought me to this point in my life. Last year, as I lost somebody who I was with for 11 years, you know, that took its toll on me, and I didn't want to go through that, you know, because of course when I was, my parents, again, back to my parents, you know, me, as I became an adult, I left my home when I was 21, and I never lived with my parents again. I became you know, self-sufficient in that way. Even though I struggled, I was determined to make it on my own. And so I learned that I had, you know, to work, you still had to pay, you know, right? So that's just something I'm, you know, working on myself and learning how to do, and that's why I do what I'm doing now, because I want to be able to pay off my home ahead of time and be, you know, done with it, and not have to, you know, depend on, you know, just credit anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. So this is me tackling that. So yeah, so I just, you know, went and, you know, I ran my statement last year after the fact, and I, you know, went through them and I saw everything I marked off, like I highlighted. I had different color codeds of everything, and I mean, I got some, you know, I can pull something out and show you guys. So this is my checking account, okay, and as of, this was from, you know, May, and you know, as I was going through all of these, and which I do, I'll typically get, you know, on my highlighters. I have a couple of highlighters here, right? And so basically what I do, and I'm trying to, you know, make this be a habit every year to start, and I'm almost at the year mark, so this is why and I get a highlighter and I'm like, okay, so what was everything that I mark off in certain colors? So say my streaming, so we'll do streaming. So this is pink, will be streaming. So anything that's streaming, I will put on my highlight pink, right? I'll do that, okay? And then I'll get my other color and I'll be like, okay, so anything that was related to eating out, I'll go ahead and highlight in a different color. So that's eating out, that's eating out. All of these things are eating. That's for gas, I believe. McAllister's, and that's electricity, Chick-fil-A. So like, this is just one page, guys, of stuff. That was groceries. And so look right here, so I've already highlighted $32, $43, $71, $1.50, $1.50, and $10.59. That right there could have been applied to savings. If I did not go eat out and I meal planned, I could have used that money towards additional savings that I have, right? And so you do that, and then you also do your expenses that is always a given. So this is part of the mortgage, my electricity. Was that, no, that was water, electricity. Let's see what else. This is for gas. That was for savings. So $240 I pulled out for savings, and probably my variable, my wallet, my stuffing, and then yeah. So these are everything that I have to pay. My electricity, water, you know, home. So, and that's basically what I've done. You know, I'll go through all of these, each page. And I don't like that I'm seeing multiple pages, but I will go through each page and highlight everything that I have, and then I total them all up, see where I spend, and then I can break it down by what I get on my monthly, my paycheck, and break it down even further and say, okay, so this is how much I make that I have to pay exactly towards my house, the needs, everything that we need just to live, you know. And that money I can break down in between it for each check, and so on and so forth. And then I do it for the, you know, okay, well, this is how much I ate out in that month. And I'm like, that money I could have saved right here. That's already almost $200 that I could have saved towards something else, saved towards putting it towards savings, put it towards sinking funds and stuff like that. Start limiting yourself on those things that you can do at home, you know? If you feel like you're having a pizza night, go and buy the pizza stuff. Put a pizza. I love making my pizza. I prefer making my pizza more than I do ordering pizza now. So I don't order pizza unless my kids, you know, they decide they're gonna order it, but I don't. And so that's basically what I do throughout all of the pages, and I will work on this, you know, as time goes. And then I said, you know, you know, and of course, so, and then at that, I am working on the baby steps. Okay, guys, had to take a break. But anyways, yeah, so, and then I'm working on my base sets, and basically that is key. So I, you know, find ways that will keep you motivated with doing the baby steps. So basically I went and created something that I could follow, and I'm going to start utilizing this, especially because I'm going to show you guys exactly where my debt is at this point. And you know, I work on the 7 baby steps, savings challenges to help hit those goals, budget constantly to see where your money goes, work on a no spend and learn from what you spend. You spend and then find your setbacks that cause you to spend, you know, those things like the impulse buying, which I did a lot of this month. You know, and I will probably look at my bank account whenever I do June's statement, and I'll probably, like, you know, have a little bit of guilt because I did a lot of impulse spending this past month. And then reach out, you know, to others. You know, being part of the YouTube now, almost a year, and it will be a year in August, toward the end of August, I think. I've made a lot of connections with a lot of budgeters, and I love that because we keep ourselves motivated, keep ourselves, you know, just accountable, and then also just be accountable, hold yourself accountable. And I wrote on here, do not give up, don't give up. And so this is something that, you know, I've created for myself. But with this, I created this, you know, 7 baby steps, you know, because I had to, you know, print out one from Dave Ramsey, and this is, you know, the 7 baby steps, and I'm going to utilize this as a way to save on it. So I have the, you know, number 1, of course, is build a $1,000 emergency fund, you know. And that's, I'm working on that right now. Snowball to pay off debts. Of course, you do that on a monthly basis, and then build up to 3 to 6 months of expenses and savings, so that if you ever do have to rely on, you know, a job loss or anything that keeps you from being at work, that you're not getting paid on a regular basis, this is something you need to really work at building. And then also invest in 15% of income into Roth IRAs or pre-tax retirement plans. And these will eventually come later on after you can get to this point. And college funding is number 5, which, you know, my kids are grown, and they already, you know, took part in that college. And then also pay off your home early, and then build wealth and give. That is a big thing that I want to be able to do, is be able to build my wealth, but also be able to give back in that way. And then it says, you know, and I wrote out here, track your progress to complete each of the 7 baby steps. Budget, review your statements, no spend, start saving, get out of debt. And then track your progress by percentage. You can either do the boxes by percentage or save for each box. And so that's something I'm going to utilize. I need to correct this because I messed up on the wording on some of this. And then it has, you know, this cute little envelope. And then I also went ahead and started Dia del Tackling Debt, right? Day of Tackling Debt. And it's just a challenge to hit those marks. And so this I want to be able to use to apply toward my debt. So whenever I complete this, I can use this towards one of my debt, you know, categories, right? So And I might utilize this on a regular basis, like do it every time I complete it, restart it, you know, use this as a goal to use until, you know, you decide not to use it, right? So that's something fun I wanted to do, and I love Dia de los Muertos. You guys who know me know I love it that to celebrate that day. It's a very important spiritual day for me, and yeah. All right, guys. So with that being said, now here comes the kicker. The whole debt, right? Where you guys are here to see what I owe in my debt. And if you saw in this corner spot, this, as of right now, is what my debt is carrying at now. And this is including my house. No, it's not including my house. This is $83,641 I owe in debt as of currently. And now to break that out for you guys. So this is the way I'm tracking my debt by these cute little debt jars, right? So of course I have my mortgage, which that comes at a later time, but I have it here so I can, you know that what I'm paying. For the minimum payment, $472, $502, right? Is what I typically pay, $30 in interest. It's just I want to make sure I get into, or not interest in principal. Then I have my Jeep. Yes, I do have a 2023, and if I probably was talking to Dave, he'd probably tell me get rid of the Jeep. That is where my most of my debt is at this current stage, is in my Jeep. And there's a story behind that about my vehicle being stolen, you know, years ago. And I wish I would have taken the money at that time and just bought me, you know, straight up cash on hand. The money I got from my vehicle being stolen, I wish I would have used that to buy just a straight up cash on, you know, vehicle. But I didn't, so I owe $60,517 in my Jeep. Oh, and I forgot. My mortgage is $30,000, so I've lived in my house almost 20 years. So I am almost done with my mortgage. But I am going to work at, hopefully in the next 5 years, maybe even sooner, try to work toward, and that's why I'm paying a little bit extra on the interest each month, so that I can try to pay this off. Hopefully, my goal is to hit 3 years, get this paid off. I come to the term that maybe to eventually downsize on this. I don't know. I went crazy a couple of years ago after my other vehicle had, you know, ran its course, and I went and bought me a more expensive vehicle than this, and I realized I made a mistake. I was in that vehicle for 1 year, and I went and changed it down into the Jeep, and that is why I am working toward getting into a downsized vehicle. That one I did. It was stupidly done. What I did, I went and bought me a Wagoneer. Love the Wagoneer. Very expensive Wagoneer. And I was paying out of the craziness of almost $1,100 for my Wagoneer. And that's not including insurance. And so that was really taking its toll on me. And so after that year of having it, I did build my credit up a little bit. So I was able to go ahead and just downsize to this Jeep. And that is why the Jeep is in the picture, because I was actually trying to downsize into a smaller vehicle, but because of the amount of money I had on the Wagoneer, of course I had to go to something a little bit less. I couldn't go any further. But my goal is to hopefully get that once I hit a year mark, or you know, try to get down into a you know, a smaller payment vehicle. And So that is where that plays. And you know, these are some of these I've not, I mean, of course I pay them, I just haven't tracked it. This is something I've created a couple, like maybe last month or so. So I've started utilizing it. I've been putting it off is what I've been doing. And now that I've put it out there and putting it on paper and seeing how much everything is, and I actually totaled it, when I totaled that amount for 83,000, I was just like, I was surprised. I really didn't realize how much debt I did owe, because I thought it was way less than that. So we move on into Capital One. So I have $1,900.73 that I owe on my Capital One credit card. That is a work in progress. Of course, that's part of the snowball effect. So the Jeep, Capital One, and then I have American Express, which is my lowest debt that I have. I have $1,300 in debt with American Express. So my minimum payment is $48, but I paid this previous, well, as of July, $60. I went ahead and made that payment ahead so that I can have the month of July covered. So I'm putting more money toward it so I can get this down further. Once I get that $60, I'll be able to apply it to my second smallest, which is this one, my Chase Bank. So Chase, of course, is through Amazon Prime, and I don't use my Amazon Prime Chase card aside from the monthly bill, which I need to stop that. I need to put it toward my my monthly subscription toward my probably my bank, because I do actually have a sinking fund for that I'm building up, and I'm almost completed on that. So, but I do have a minimum payment of $102 for that one, and you can see this one cost me a little bit more to pay, aside from the $72 that I have with Capital One. But I stay consistent with this one because this was actually like my first credit card, and I actually have a high yield savings account with Capital One, so that I'm building up. And then we have the lovely foundation, and you're probably like, what is foundation? I mean, it's a, have to pay for a foundation on your home? No, this is actually the finance company that I am paying for a bathroom remodel. A couple years ago, of course I own my home. I've lived in my home, of course, for 20 years. Of course, plumbing and so on and so forth damages, right, your bathroom, and sometimes it just corrodes everything, right? So I had to actually, I have two bathrooms, but my main my bedroom bathroom, it really is not functioning. That I actually have to work on. Hopefully one day being able to renovate that, because I can't use my shower. It leaks all over the place, so I'm not able to use my shower. So that will come in the future to be able to remodel that. You know, and hopefully, you know, for my master bathroom though, the main bathroom, I completely demolished my bathroom thinking like I was going to be able to tackle that on my own. No clue of what it would take. I mean, the guys that did this did it in within a week, whereas and it was more so because I let people influence me, and it was not to say, I mean, I'm an adult, I have my mind on my own, I shouldn't let people influence me, but smooth talkers, right? You get those smooth talkers, they talk to you into doing something, and then you fall for it, right? And so that's what happened with that, and I ended up being without two bathrooms, really. So I had to go and run my credit, of course, to get a bathroom remodel, so at least I could have one functioning bathroom. And so that is what I owe. I owe $17,900 for the bathroom remodel, and that will, you know, I paid $225 as the minimum payment. Once I get these three completely gone, my focus will be able to hopefully get this one tackled and apply, you know, that's what, $230 So that would, you know, another a month ahead, but at least I'll be able to apply that $200 toward that. And so that is basically all of my debt that I have. Yeah. So it's, I mean, it's 6, but it's a hefty 6, right? And that is where it comes, you know. This was a quote I heard the other day from Dave Ramsey, and it really stuck with me on the podcast. I don't know what episode it was. I don't know if it was more recent, if it was an old one, but he was talking to someone whose parents basically had said that you're gonna have to pay us, you know, or take care of us, I guess, is what I think it was. The mom, she wanted the son to pay for her home, and, you know, basically, you know, she's the mom, so you have to take care of her. And he, of course, made this comment about it to the young man, and told him, like, travel agents are parents. Well, I don't know how to say parents, manipulators, people in your life, people that care for you or supposedly care for you, that like to use the guilt trip on you, and he basically said they are travel agents for guilt trips. And I love that quote, and so I wrote it down because I was like, you know, that struck a chord with me, because it's like, because that was one of the guilty, you know, run-ins that I did with my bathroom. Was I was talked into, you know, doing all these things like, oh, we can take care of it ourselves, and of course they disappear, and of course now I'm left with no bathroom. So at that point it just was like, you know, use this and apply it to anybody who comes in my life and, you know, tries to smooth talk to me and saying all the things that I want, that they think I want to hear, you know, like, oh, we could do this, we can do that, and so on and so forth. So yeah, guys, so that is what I'm going to be working on, guys. You guys will see this being applied more through my savings as I'm, you know, getting more and more into getting those sinking funds fully funded. But and then we have this back portion. So I haven't totaled it out yet. So my minimum goal was basically to tally up all of the amounts that I owe on my minimum payments, right? Tally these, and I'm thinking I might just do the first 3 right now and use this as the you know, the total, what it would be, 72, 60, and 102, which is what, 132, 334. So wait, no, 234. So I would put 234 as the minimum goal, and then you would put for the month, year. So calculate all your debt owed 1 through 12, in which in my case it was 1 through 6. If all is needed, smallest to largest, total all minimum payments in box 1. The goal is to pay each one of the minimum payment, with the lowest being paid more to create the snowball effect. Once debt is 1 is paid off, roll that minimum payment to debt 2. Each time you pay off a debt, roll that into the next day until completed. So that is my goal for this. I haven't tallied it, so I haven't figured out how I'm going to apply that to this page yet, but that is my goal, is set my minimum goal, and then focus on paying that each month, and then hopefully in the year the payment, and then hopefully to have it completed. Whether it's just one debt I complete and then I reuse it for a next debt, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, that's a work in progress, guys. But yeah, guys, that is basically my journey. I do, you know, I know it was a long video of, you know, getting my debt confession. It is my way of finding a resolution to getting myself out of debt, and this is going to really help me. The savings challenges that I do, you guys, you know, that partake in my videos, you guys that, you know, are with me and motivate me. I mean, holding me accountable. It has really helped me to stay focused and grounded in this. So I don't have tendencies aside from this month. In June, for June, I'm just ready for June to be over with. Well, of course, we have setbacks. We're human. We make, errors, but we can always, always start over. Don't give up, and just get back on track. And that's my goal. That's what I plan to do. July, I plan to do better on my no spend, because I did spend like crazy, and just stay focused. But I hope you guys enjoyed my debt confession, guys. Took a minute for me to compose this, decide what I was going to show you guys, what I was going to talk to you guys. I wanted to be transparent, and that's why I did go ahead and bring out my statement, bring out my debt, and just give you, a breakdown from me growing up, not knowing finances, to, the succumb of last year. So, but if you did, give it a thumbs up, guys. Let's go ahead and use that hashtag steps for baby steps. Let's go ahead and use hashtag steps for to let me know that you guys took part in watching all this way through. I appreciate you if you did, guys. Sorry, guys, bless me. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching all the way through to this video. If you got to this point, much love to you all, and I will see you in my next savings video, guys. We are doing a game day fun day, so bye, guys.